Now, joined now in the studio by the former Labour Minister, Denis MacShane. Denis, welcome to the show. Always a pleasure. Did you ever bet on politics or on yourself?
Once, on the morning of the Brexit referendum, there I was in the BBC, sort of gobbing away early in the morning, and in comes Professor Adnan Menon, who's one of the great experts in Europe. And I said to him, Adnan, what's the result going to be today? And he said, Denis, I know the English. They'll bottle it. They won't dare vote to leave. Since I'd written a book a year before saying that they would vote to leave, I listened to him. I went straight out to Paddy Power and put, I think, 50 quid on it and didn't get very much.
And you got it wrong.
No, I said that they would vote to leave.
Oh, wow.
No, I didn't want them to leave, but I didn't trust Adam's judgment. I knew with David Cameron and Nick Clegg in charge of the campaign, there was no chance we would win. So there we are. Otherwise, no. And I think, as Catherine, your reporter's just said, the problem isn't so much candidates betting on themselves. I think that's gone right back to sort of Charles Stuart Fox and Gladstone and everybody. But it's when you had inside information, and it's part of this sort of semi-seediness, sleaziness. I mean, Rishi Sunak is so rich he doesn't need to be sleazy. But there are a lot of people around him who have just been quietly making bits and pieces of money. We think of the COVID protective equipment scandals and so on.
Yeah.
And this is just the last straw, last example before we all go and vote in a week or two. And, you know, I just think he should never have come back. He's not really a proper politician.
Well, Denis, I'm delighted that finally some good for you came from Brexit, because you've complained about it since 2016. So here we are. You got a few bob off the back of it. So smiles all round. Ed Davey admitted he bet in 2010 and he lost. He said he called himself a serial loser. His words, not mine. Is it time to just have a blanket ban about betting in politics? They're talking about doing the same as happened in cricket or in football. But then you look at Kevin Craig, the Labour candidate. He bet against himself. He bet on the Conservatives to win. That, you can't affect the outcome of that. This is a bit of a flutter, wasn't it? You're allowed to have a flutter unless, as you said, the key difference is you have insider information ahead of the public, and then you're clearly bending the rules.
That's true, but it's always best, I thought, to err on the safe side. I don't know much about betting or horse racing, where I think a lot more happens than, say, in other sports. Would I bet on Gareth Southgate winning the Euro Cup? Not sure. But I presume if somebody, a groom or somebody from stables, goes in and says, here's £500 on this horse, then if it's known that he's the groom, it really wouldn't be allowed. And I think it'd be just a lot healthier if politics could clean up so much of its funny money business. We thought all that was done and dusted 10 years ago. Not. It's back and it's bad. And I would hope Keir Starmer, when he becomes PM, just sets an example. And
Denis, do you think this is part of a deeper malaise, a deeper rot that the electorate have got? They look at this carry-on, the shenanigans, the amount of money involved is crumbs compared to what these people earn, and certainly compared to the grand scheme of things, but they're just in it for themselves. Does it cast this wider thing that we need to drain the swamp? To quote that sort of Trumpian thing, there's a huge dissatisfaction with political parties across the board. Is this just saying they're just a bunch of charlatans?
I think it doesn't help. I mean, Trump arguing it is just silly, given his record in so many areas, women, money, anything. But I do think that there is a problem that it used to be said we want politicians should be purer than thou, should be absolutely sea green incorruptibles, as it was once said of Robespierre. And I think getting back to that, a bit of Puritanism, perhaps wouldn't be a bad thing.
And with the honey trap scandal, that's going on. That's just all sorts of shenanigans
walking out,
going on.
A lot of Tories are going to lose their seats, I expect, in the next week or two. Well, how big the so-called landslide victory is, I've still got a tiny question mark in my mind, but that's just long, bitter experience. But they're going to walk out then and expect directorships, advisory consultancies, working for public affairs companies. And that hiring fair, if it does happen after the election, will further discredit the Conservative Party. And again, I don't know who the new leaders of the Conservative Party will be, but I hope they would just try and clean it up.